I mean, we're going on 3 years now, but every day is like a honeymoon. So yes, we are new.
Oh, okay. Okay, wonderful.
Oh,
Oh, look
look
at
at
that.
that.
I have just seen so many pictures of you and your love. That's so cute. Um, you seem really in love.
I am. That's good because
Yeah,
I
it's
am.
good when you get married to somebody you love, right?
Yeah. You said that you never knew love until you met your wife. That I thought that was shocking. What changed or what was different? Because you imagine Brian McKnight,
Right?
R&B singer, the master of love.
Yeah, but see, even back then, I never said that I was. I really am a product of every song that I've ever heard.
Hmm.
So earlier in my career, I could emulate those songs. I could try to imitate them, but I didn't have anyone to write about. I never liked anybody. I never wanted to be, it was cooler to be, you look at James Bond had all the women. That's
Yeah.
what society wants you to be. You look at Al Bundy, nobody wants to be Al Bundy. You think that Al Bundy's the guy who is being controlled by a woman.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When I met Leilani, my heart started beating and I'm like, what is this? What? I don't have a heart. I'm a robot. What is this?
Wow.
I'm watching a commercial and there's a dog and it's doing something and this wet stuff started coming out of my eyes. I'm like, what is this? I was finally alive. She walked into my life and I knew at that moment that if I was going to try to be with her, that I had to kill the old Brian.
Wow.
I had to. And it was easy to do. It was not hard to do that because, I mean, we could just talk about Leilani the entire interview and I have no problem with that because she is the
Yeah.
greatest everything that it was ever invented by anyone. There aren't two of them. There's only one. So I'm sorry, fellas. I got the only one. You got to find your own Leilani. But
So how did she, and then you're, getting older, how has that affected your music?
well, every song I write and every song that I've written since we met has been about her and about our life. I mean, she is inspiration personified. When I wrote my current single, Nobody, I was sitting with one of my guitars at the edge of the bed. She's just down the hall, blow drying her hair through the bathroom. And those words just came
So,
because I'm looking at her. It's just the way that it is. Yeah, the way it should be.
but I gotta know, you've written so many great love songs before her. Where
Right.
did you find that, or were you, I don't want to say faking it, or were you projecting what you thought love was when you were writing that music?
I was faking it, exactly like you said.
Wow.
Once you do this enough and you've heard enough love songs, there's no lyric I can write that hasn't necessarily been written. I can twist it around and make it my own. If I listen to Stevie Wonder's Overjoyed, it's saying everything you want to say.
Hmm.
Now I just have to try to say it that way, but I'm physically making a decision to say it. When I met Leilani, it just was said.
Mm.
It
I
just,
want to, yeah, I want to know, did you feel pressure though to be Brian McKnight? Like to be someone who's smooth and charismatic? Like what was it like meeting Leilani? Like, did you feel that pressure to deliver that?
no, I was nervous for the first time in my life.
Wow.
Funny because she told me that night that we went to dinner for the first time that she knew I was nervous. And I mean, I could sing in front of thousands of people and nothing.
And I
But
guess
that night,
that's the persona that, you have to put forward, this R&B person who's
no,
confident and smooth and
believe me,
charismatic. It,
that's no one will ever tell you that Brian McKnight had a confidence problem. But that night I did because I knew what I was dealing with was so out of my league that I wanted to do it right. I wanted to do it. I wanted to say the right thing. I wanted to be the right thing. And it was it was tough because I knew that she didn't have to be there. She didn't even know who I was when we met.
really? How did you meet?
We were at a fitness convention. I had invested in a fitness product, and she had taken a hiatus from her job. And she's from Maui, from Hawaii, and she had done a calendar for Hawaiian Tropic, and she was signing calendars that day. And the funny thing was is that she didn't have to be there when she met me. She came back there just for some reason. Something told her because she had something else she was going to do. She came back. She walked down that aisle that I was on, and man, I don't talk to God much, but that day I was like, God, if just let her stop and talk to me. If I get a number, that's even better. I might even go back to church, or I might do something. I don't know. But please, Lord, just let her talk to me. Let her. And I'd never been that way about anything.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
What's interesting, Brian, I'm at a karaoke bar broadcasting live, and we were talking before you came on with Al, who runs the show, about Back at One and how so many people sing that. I don't know if it makes the song even more profound knowing that you sang that without knowing what was going to come next, right? It makes the song even more deep.
I've said this a million times. I was not this house we're in now, but the house I was in before when they were building it. They were putting in the home theater, and there was a DVD manual that I was reading, and on the troubleshooting page it said, if there's a problem, do step 1, do step 2, do step 3, and if the problem persists, repeat steps 1, 2, and 3. I'm like, bingo, there's a song.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
I always thought repeat steps 1, 2, 3 was just your cop out to get a rhyme so you can get to 4 then, but I didn't realize it was part of the DVD. That's amazing.
Yeah. Funny part is that on Twitter, there's this one guy who it blows his mind because he's like, how do I get to steps 4 and 5? And I keep repeating, how do I? And I keep trying to tell the guy that it's metaphoric, you idiot. It's not just the steps.
That would be something I would worry about, true. I'd be like, wait, hold on, we're in a loop
I'm
now.
telling you, for years, at least once or twice a year, he's like, I still don't get it. How do I get to the end? And I never respond to him, so it's just this loop of him going over it.
Oh.
Repeat steps 1 through 3 once, okay?
Yeah.
Then you go on. All right, there we go.
Have you been asked to do these versus battles that are going on right now, and would you ever do it?
I would do it, and I've answered this, earlier today. I don't think that it's necessarily a competition. I
No,
think
it's not.
It's a celebration of music. So if somebody wanted to do that with me, I think it would be great, because I don't think that people understand that we're not artists that are competing against one another. We love music too.
Yeah.
We love other people's music. We would love to say how much we love. When I see somebody whose music I like, I tell them. Or if I see an actor that I liked him in some movie that I saw, I'll tell them, dude, I loved you in this. I loved you in
Yeah.
that. It's
Who
never.
would you go up against, though?
I
I don't know who you would go up against.
I don't know.
You're incomparable.
Right?
Oh, thank you.
I don't know who
Thank
you would go up against.
I gotta ask, because you were talking about your wife and finding love with her. How do you compare that type of love to your kids? Because it's different. Like, you have love and you love your children, but it's a different kind.
Yeah, I'm in love with my wife. I love our children. There you go. That's the best way I can put that without and
But can
keeping
you make music about
keeping
that?
it PG. Thank you.
It's different. It's different.
Have
Yeah.
you missed the crowds? Have you missed being able to perform in front of them, or was it maybe a nice pause?
It's both. So I know that my voice needed a rest after 25 years of doing shows every week, for all that period of time. But I do miss, being out on stage and hearing an immediate reaction to the songs that I've written and what they mean to people, because you can see it on their face. And I often tell people, I wish you could be, and you could see the crowd from my perspective, because every face is telling you how they feel about that particular song and how they feel about you. And though you can do that on social media, it's really not the same, because somebody just typing a comment isn't the same as seeing those faces. I will tell you, my wife doesn't miss it at all, because she never wanted me to go out there and shake hands with people just because of, germs and things of that nature. So now I used to do this thing at the end of the show where I would have people come down and I'd shake everybody's hand. So that's out forever.
Right?
Yeah.
And she's so happy about that. So we're.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 100% sure she's a secure woman, but you are like Brian McKnight. That's why I wouldn't want you shaking people's hands. But you said she didn't even realize who you were when she met you. So
No, I mean, she knew
like that, or no?
She knew who Brian McKnight was. She just didn't know that the guy in front of her.
Oh, okay.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Which was great for me, because, it's got to be hard for people to know, even people who aren't famous, to know why somebody wants to be with them. But we started this off as just two people wanting to be together. She didn't see a show of mine until, 6 months into the time that we were talking to one another. But now she's seen almost 900. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's commitment.
Yeah.
Do you ever just
I can't get my husband to turn on the show for one morning, let alone watch 900 shows. Jeez.
that too? Do you ever give her private concerts and just sing to her?
Oh, tell
Well,
us.
not in a formal setting, but I sing all day, even not knowing it. And she'll say to me, you know what, you just reminded me that you're a private night. Because we don't have a bunch of memorabilia around the
Right.
house. We just have a very simple, regular life. So in the midst of this pandemic, we go to the store, a woman stopped her car and jumped out at the grocery store, and someone's running at us, and my wife was like, she's gonna shoot us. Dude, we're gonna die. She's like, I just want a picture. And I'm like, oh, social distancing. She's like, okay. And she got back in her car and she
That's amazing.
So you have this new album, Exodus. I imagine a lot inspired by your wife. What else can we hear? Where's this coming from?
So yeah, it's another love letter to my wife. 11 of those songs are about us. Even one song called Hula Girl, which is, has her name in it and everything. And then there's two songs, one that I wrote when Kobe Bryant passed called Can't Say Goodbye. That was how I was trying to get my finger on the pulse of how everybody was feeling, because it's been rare when somebody famous has passed. When Michael passed, a lot of people were hurt about that. When Prince passed, even people were down. But when Kobe passed, worldwide, it's like unlike anything I've seen since. I was alive when Elvis passed. There was no social media, but it seemed that big at the time. And I just wanted to write something, knowing him and having been around him, that would hopefully help some folks out there. And then based on what was happening with, everything else that's going on in the world, I very rarely talk about how Sting has been an influence of mine. And I wanted to do something for him, so I covered his song Fragile, because I think that song really talks about how we are to one another. If we can all have empathy for one another and show that kind of love, then our civilization won't topple like civilizations of the past. And I think that's where we are right now, to have that kind of love for one another that we can endure.
You're an artist, so I imagine that you're always writing and producing and doing music. How do you know when it's time to actually compile some of these songs together and put an album out? I'm sure you have hundreds, thousands maybe.
Well, that's one of the reasons why this is the last one I'm going to do. I don't decide those things. The label says, we need an album out by X. And then you take the songs you've already written and decide which ones of those are ready for a record, and then you finish it up, and then you sort of put it out. It's really there's a factory mentality that goes along with just about everything. You guys, it's your job. There's a group of people that get together and decide how you're going to do it. And you may have ideas, and then they either say those ideas are good or they don't. But it's not autonomous like you think. I'm not an artist that I'm putting out a record, and I put out a record. There's a whole process.
So you're going to be independent now after this album?
I'm going to be independent in the sense that, my wife goes on and she finds these quotes every day and finds some really good ones. I want to be defined by what makes me happy, not by what I do. And that's what we're going to do every day. We're going to get up and do whatever makes us happy.
I think you've earned the right to do that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Are you in the room where you create some of your music? Or I see guitars behind you.
So,
you just pick one up and strum and see what comes?
Sometimes. So I have a guitar. I take one of them all over the house. I'm in my studio right now, so all the vocals that I did on the record, I did right here in this room. There's a mic right here.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
So, and behind me is the computer, the screens, everything, the piano.
Yeah.
Right underneath me. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm definitely saying Brian McKnight played me a song right there.
Oh.
Those notes. That's going on the resume. Okay, we have to wrap it. I won't be able to sleep unless I ask. Your Instagram name, Brian McKnight 23. What's the 23 stand for? Just so you know you're talking to Chicago.
Well, yeah, obviously Michael Jordan made 23 very famous. It was just another way. Somebody already had Brian McKnight, and I wasn't going to pay them to have my name. So I wanted a number that I could put there that people would, easily remember. So yeah, it's an ode to Michael Jordan, of course.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, I love it.
I don't know if someone else had that name. You should have just called him and be like, hey, look, I'm the real Brian McKnight. If you don't mind. If that's okay.
He doesn't have a check, so he can keep that thing. I just couldn't fathom the idea that I'm going to pay somebody to have my name. That's just.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, thank you for not disappointing.
Yes.
Yes, you're lovely.
You are just a delight.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
And I
it.
won't show you the group text that the ladies are chatting on right now. So, we have a whole side conversation happening. Brian, really
Thank you
great
for
to
that.
chat.
Always said we're respecting this union over here. We just said that we love the salt and pepper beard.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Again,
Don't ever change.
Thank my wife for that too, because she was like,
Don't
I'm
ever change. Tell her
marrying
we said
anybody, any guy with no facial hair. No.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
just loves
I
it.
wouldn't
She
marry a
loves
guy
it, and
without facial hair either.
I've grown to love it too. So yeah.
Oh, that's good. It works for you.
Well, thank you.
Brian.
you.